One of the biggest RPGs that was launching this year is going to be delayed into next year. 2 new games get some awesome looking trailers and including a first look, and Larian hints at what's to come. And the word that may be the best to describe it is big. Let's jump into some quick RPG news, and I will do my best to not spend 20 minutes just talking as I just fight against my burning desire to talk at you for the next 20 minutes or so by extrapolating everything. And apologies for my hair, I just watched the end of the 100-meter final in the Olympics, and I'll just say that it was exciting. Go watch it. Obsidian's first-person RPG Avowed is being delayed to February 18th of 2025. Originally planned to launch sometime in Q4 of 2024, it's not exactly a huge delay, but it will pretty greatly change how things look to end the year in the RPG landscape as one of the biggest RPGs moves off of the calendar, freeing up room for more games like Veilguard to shine. The most interesting part of this move seems to be that it has nothing to do with the game itself, as apparently Avowed is ready to go, but a very crowded holiday release schedule has them a bit cagey. We're already expecting Veilguard sometime in October or November, but there's a lot more than that, especially from Xbox and Microsoft-owned titles like Indiana Jones, Call of Duty, whatever the hell it is, Diablo 4's expansion, and perhaps chiefly Stalker 2, which was delayed until November. Avowed is starting to shape up nicely, and while I don't expect this game to change much, except some maybe marketing, I hope they can find some of this extra time to keep dialing in combat, which looked a little bit floaty in the first showcase, but looks significantly improved in this second showcase just recently. But speaking of showcases, I did not have THQ's Nordic showcase penciled into my schedule as one of my highlights this year, but it seems that was my mistake, because we got 2 pretty big trailers, one for Titan Quest II and another for the long-rumored Gothic Remake. Titan Quest is an interesting one, especially for me. While other people were playing games like Diablo, I was absolutely enamored with Titan Quest, the first one, an ARPG set in ancient Greece awash with Greek mythology, one of my favorites. The first title was brilliant to me, and I still go back to it every now and then, and while it doesn't quite hit the same, it was still a great little bit of fun for an ARPG. So when I first heard about a sequel, I was really excited, but I came away from this trailer feeling a bit more mixed. It looks very good, but not great, if that makes sense. But at the very least, since we don't have a release date for this game, there's still plenty of time for them to work on the things that didn't look that great. Ironically, it's a bit like Avowed. The first showcase for Titan Quest II showed what looked like some major issues with animations that looked a bit rather stiff, and combat itself seemed to lack some pop. It will need to improve these greatly as other ARPGs in the space have grown substantially since Titan Quest first released in 2006, with the likes of Path of Exile 2 coming soon, and Last Epoch really showing what an indie studio can do. Well, they really gotta pull out some magic here with Titan Quest II, I think, to make it be a hit. But hey, if you want to check out the first game right now, I'm guessing because of this showcase, you can actually go grab a Titan Quest I on Steam for 80% off. It costs $3.99. It's $4 for an entire ARPG, and yes, it is a bit dated, but it is the anniversary edition of the game. It's well worth it if you have any love for Greek mythology or ARPGs to get it for just $4. Not bad for a 30 to 100 hour ARPG experience. The other big game reveal we got from THQ Nordic was one I hope we would still be coming, but honestly, I wasn't sure if it was still being made, because there's so much uncertainty in the gaming industry and a whole lot of silence around this game. Gothic I will be getting its remake, and we got a 4-minute trailer describing a bit of the lore of the game, setting the tone for its story, while also talking over its 4 primary pillars: recreating a living world, exploration, story, and combat. They worked to create a world that looked like it would exist without the player, from NPCs doing their own thing, performing their duties, to nature being, well, nature.
While nature, rich in all its diversity, lives out its own rhythm. All this gives the impression that this world can exist without the player.
It will be an open world RPG with third-person over-the-shoulder action combat rendered in a beautiful Unreal Engine 5 world. At times throughout the trailer, as is, I guess, kind of becoming a theme, combat did look a bit stiff. And humans throughout the game looked kind of off to me. Sometimes they looked great, especially in the cinematic scenes, but outside of those, they just looked a little bit off. It is still a remake though. But when I got to see some of the thunderstorms in action and heard how seriously they're taking this remake, trying to pay special homage to the original while updating and upgrading different parts to it, it had me interested to at least try it. I never got to play the original Gothic, so this would be an entry point for me. Again, there is no release date yet, but you can go ahead and wishlist it now. And you know what? If you did play Gothic, let us know down in the comment section below, what did you find special about that game? Something that we can all kind of look forward to with the remake. And I guess let us know if you're excited about the remake. Our final story is all about Larian, because they dropped a little tidbit about their upcoming games. And as happened nowadays, post Baldur's Gate 3, well, it gets the whole RPG world buzzing. But when the head of the studio Sven Vinka says in an interview, "The machine is meant to make large games," not in that tone. He doesn't talk like that. I don't know why I said it like that. But when he says stuff like that, it gets people buzzing. It gets people excited because that sounds freaking cool. What it actually means sounds even cooler though. The machine he was referring to is Larian, and it sounds like the two games they're working on might actually be pretty massive. In the PC Gamer interview, Sven was asked pointedly about the scope of the two RPGs. After all, making two at the same time is time consuming and resource depleting. So Fraser Brown in the interview asked him, thus the quote about the machine to make big games, going on to say, "We were made for making large, ambitious RPGs and to try new stuff." In the same article, PC Gamer notes that Larian has grown to 500 developer studio. That's pretty freaking huge. And while bigger doesn't always mean better, it is safe to say that the BG3 studio has been growing and continues to grow, opening their 7th studio not that long ago in Warsaw, Poland. They are quickly becoming, if they aren't already, a standout studio in the RPG space, and I'm sure the next two titles will absolutely affirm that if they're even remotely as good as Divinity Original Sin 2 or as good as Baldur's Gate 3. It sounds like the scope might actually be kind of similar because they're built that way. I've linked the full interview down below if you want to get a little bit of more information on the past of Larian Studios, the present of Larian Studios, and their future. Or you could listen to me continue to talk at you in this video right here where we go over a year later some of the lessons that other studios can learn from Larian. And I won't lie, the last one, the 4th one, I get a bit spicy. I call people fuck nuggets.